All right, Prop the Mic, PTM, coming to you on a Friday afternoon, getting ready for week 2 of the NFL. We got a bunch of picks. Format's going to be a little bit different today. You'll see what we're talking about in a minute. But what's up, Dave? What's going on?
Things are good. I'm excited to jump on the pod. We went back and forth today, debating whether or not we should record today or push it to tomorrow. And I hope we made the right decision.
We did.
Okay, we did make the right
We
decision.
did. A lot of winners coming.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And it's really early in the week too, right? This is Friday, so we got plenty of runway in front of us until football on Sunday. So let's get some picks out today, and then we'll keep posting some stuff throughout the weekend as well.
Yeah, there's definitely a few things that I want to target that just aren't available yet. So you might see some stuff that we don't talk about here that maybe you'll see over the next day or two popping up on Twitter. So yeah, I'm ready.
Before we dive into that, what was your take on Thursday Night Football?
Boring. We did call the backdoor cover, kind of.
Oh yeah, big time.
That was rough. Just not a very exciting game. Just like plotting, which I feel like a lot of these Thursday night games are.
I don't know why.
The short turner. It's this short turnaround. I think you have 3 less days to get ready, and these guys take a beating. So I don't know. It's we got to start treading lightly on these Thursday night football slates until the scoring maybe picks up.
Well, maybe we focus on second half because the first half was dead, and the second half they were scoring like crazy. So, but anyway, my same take here. The end of the game was somewhat entertaining, but overall was kind of a dud, even though a lot of points were scored. So,
and Kirk Cousins looks like a stud that might be wearing green soon. So that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, maybe. So. If it would be even more awesome if that last Hail Mary of the game got intercepted because we were on his pick, and I was like crossing my fingers. Anyway, all right. So let's dive into the Sunday slate. There are 12 games on Sunday. I think we have picks from 8 of the games, and today these are all Tom's picks. So if they're garbage, then it's all on him. But I'm gonna
weigh in a little bit, though. We gotta get the Dave stamp of approval, or you just trash my pick and say this is garbage. Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a brutal assessment for each of these picks. And I've dabbled a little bit. I'm going to do some more analysis tomorrow, but I've dabbled a little. So if I have some related picks, I'll throw them in here and there. But without further ado, let's dive into it. So first game we're going to cover is the Bears at the Bucks. That's like pretty much the worst possible game you could start a show covering, right? It's the Bears are 0-1. The Bucks somehow are 1-0. They beat the Vikings week 1 somehow. The Bucks are -2.5 in this game at home, so it tells you how good the Bears are considered. And the total, this is the main reason why I was trashing it. The total is 40.5. So not a lot of points are going to be scored here. So hopefully your picks, Tom, are fitting into a game script of maybe not a lot of scoring, but maybe a lot of running. I don't know. What do you got? Maybe a lot of catches, but not a lot of touchdowns. What do you got here?
All right. So here's how I basically as you mentioned, there's 5 games we're not talking about. I kind of let these come to me. I'm really into matchups. Specifically, I think there's a lot of volatility in that first week. It can be a little fluky, but one thing I think is kind of consistent across the board is like line play. So I put an extra emphasis on line play from both sides of the ball and kind of compare whose defense was good at stopping the run, whose defense was bad at stopping the pass last week, and vice versa for the offensive line. ESPN has some really good metrics for that in terms of they call them win rates. It's like a pass rush win rate, a run stop win rate, stuff like that. So let me dig into this game here. So Chicago starts out seeming like a good team to target passing. They're the 32nd worst, dead last in pass defense. But Tampa Bay has a terrible O-line. They're ranked 31st. So I'm kind of just staying away from that side of the ball there. It just seems messy, and I don't want to mess with it. So
not to mention they don't have the best quarterback in the world either, right? So
yes,
I think that's a stay away.
Yes, agreed. So there we go. We're on the same page there. Tampa Bay side. So Tampa Bay's pass defense was ranked 23rd, but Chicago's offensive line I have ranked 10th. So you have a nice mismatch there. Tampa Bay was 26th in air yards per attempt in week 1 at 7.7. They were 22nd in passes defended, and they were 20th in pass rush win rate. Now Tampa Bay is without their best cornerback, Carlton Davis, who had a toe injury against Minnesota. They're without 2023 19th overall pick defensive lineman Cansey. So I think we can look to target Chicago's passing game here based on all that. They were not good last week to begin with, and now they just lost two defensive cogs for them. So I like Khalil Herbert over 8.5 receiving yards. You want to? Are we going to pull these up on props.cash here? There we
It's
go.
loading. It's loading.
So I like over 8.5 receiving yards, minus 115. He had 5 targets for 37 yards in game 1 against Green Bay. So I like the volume there. And then if you look at who Tampa Bay played in week 1, it was Minnesota. Mattinson had 4 targets for only 10 yards, but he did have 4 targets in that game. So I like that. He's not like a receiving running back. So I like that volume, and it's a good. I feel like that's a nice comp. And Herbert's cleared this line in 4 of his last 6 games, as long as he's had 1 target. If he gets 1 target, he's cleared in 75% of his last 6 games. So
say
that's
the prop
nice.
again.
Over 8.5 receiving yards.
Oh, 8.5. Okay, yeah, and
it could be these.
Like
I put most of these in last night, so these lines could have moved. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it kind of looks like if he gets a catch, he's probably going to clear it. So it doesn't
Exactly.
8.5, 9.5. It probably doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think encouraging stats from week 1. I think I like that. Obviously, because it's a different situation this year versus last year.
Yeah.
I think that's worth a play. I would give that one.
It's a nice low number. All right, we got a thumbs up on the first one. All right.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. All right. Next one. We're gonna go through these quick. I got 3 on. I don't have a ton for every game. This game happens to have 3, so we'll go quick here. I also like. We talked about targeting the passing game. I like DJ Moore here, over 3.5 receptions. He played in this division against Tampa Bay last year when he was on Carolina. It's plus money, or at least it was at plus 105 on DK. When I placed it against Tampa Bay last season, 2 games, he had 6 and 7 receptions. I like this low line. I like the plus money. You know, you're getting this here because it wasn't great in week 1 with Fields there in terms of targets, right? I don't know how many. I don't remember how many targets he had there.
Yeah, I'm looking that up.
But yeah, I think this shapes up nicely for him to get 4+ receptions here. He's there. You know, they brought him in to be like the the stud wide receiver on this team. So I like him to get some decent volume here.
Yeah, I mean he. So in terms of receiving, Darnell Mooney had 7 targets, 4 receptions for 53 yards. Cole Kmet had 7 targets for 5 receptions. Herbert had 5 targets, 3 receptions. So I like that.
Yeah.
That prior play even more now looking at those targets. And DJ Moore, a little concerning, had 2 targets for 2 receptions. So,
that's why I think we're getting this at a discount here because of that. I mean, they just brought this guy in. He is the shiny new offensive weapon for this team. So I kind of like that play. It's kind of a zag from just what you saw, what happened last week a bit. So I kind of go that way.
I'm kind of like straddling the fence on this one. I like the low number 3.5. I mean, look at the guy's history. He nailed that most of the back half of last season, albeit on a different team.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good play, and I think quarterbacks are not going to allow their new weapons to go too many weeks without getting targets, right? Otherwise, they'll get disgruntled. You saw AJ Brown last night. They were up by 14 points. He was complaining about not getting enough targets. You know, the ultimate non-team player move. That's kind of what a lot of wide receivers do. So I don't know if DJ Moore falls into that camp, but I think I like the pick.
What I also like is, he's played, being on Carolina for the past several years. Like, he's familiar. Tampa Bay, they have a lot of returning defensive guys, and I think he's pretty familiar with them. So I like that familiarity as well. But I think we spent too much time on DJ Moore here. Let's just go over the one other receiver here that I like for Chicago. I like Mooney, over 33.5 receiving yards as well. It's minus 115 on DK. He's done this in 8 of his last 10 games, averaging 52 yards over his last 10 games in a nice passing situation. I think this looked beautiful.
Yeah, I'm looking at what he put up. Yeah, I mean, he had 2 receptions in week 1 that were 20+ yard receptions. So, so to me, he's got some deep ball potential. I like his 35.5 receiving yards for sure. I'd probably even like his 17.5 longest reception as well. I'd look at both of those.
And if you remember what I said at the beginning, Tampa Bay's was 26th in air yards per attempt last week.
Too bad he's got a quarterback that doesn't like to throw, but regardless, he's good for probably close to 200 yards. So, all right, good. I like those picks. That's a good start. I give you like 2.5 thumbs up so far.
Okay, I'll take it.
All right, so let's move on to the next game. Oh, hold on now. This is my moment to shine. I brought this pick up to you, and I have to bring this controversy to the table. Same game, rushing yards. Oh, look at that. Baker Mayfield, 11.5. Wasn't it 8.5 when I
I was
showed it
just
to you
gonna say, I
yesterday?
thought, yeah, it was 8.5 when you sent it to me.
Oh, so this
Is
one's
it still
definitely.
available anywhere at 8.5?
Oh, let's
No,
see.
look at that.
No, BetMGM has it at 9.5.
Okay.
Oh man, I was on that one, huh?
Yeah.
So I
So
really, I
was a
really
lot of
liked
other
his.
people.
I liked his rushing yards at 8.5 last night. It's since gone up to 11.5 on most books. So I'd probably play it at 9.5 if you bet at BetMGM. Not a lot of data. He doesn't run a lot, but like you said, his offensive line is bad.
Hmm.
So he's going to be under pressure. So I think I could see him scrambling. He had 11 yards in week 1 on I think it was like 7 or 8 rushes.
Yeah,
so
which is unusual for him.
so
Yeah.
he's gonna yeah, I think you're
Probably
gonna see more
probably
of
a
the same.
product of the bad O line, right?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
look for that again. I think a little scramble. Chicago's run D is not particularly great, so I think that should be
Yeah.
good.
All right.
All right, next game. Let's move on to Seahawks at the Lions. Seahawks are 0-1. Lions, we're not talking about their record. Still in pain from that loss against KC,
It'll be
or that
okay.
win
It'll
against
be
KC.
okay.
Lions are -4.5 and totals 47.5. So we're getting some respectable number of points now. I like that. All right, what do you like in
Yes.
this game?
All right, this is my favorite game of the day. Just the matchups are just jumping off the page here. Detroit, I have them 27th pass defense, 31st rush defense. Last week, they had the worst pass rush win rate among all teams. They had the second to worst run stop win rate of all teams. And now they're going up against a Seattle team that has a good offensive line. Their offensive line was number 5 in run block win rate, and they were number 9 in pass block win rate last week. So I think we can safely target Seattle's entire offense here. The pieces I'm taking out are I like Geno Smith over 246.5 passing yards, -115. He's done it in 6 of his last 8 on the road, averaging 273. And look at that
Wow,
game
look
against
at that
Detroit last
disparity
season.
though. No, look at the disparity. You have DraftKings at 262 and you have FanDuel at 245.
What? Oh, wow. That's
Look at that.
huge.
That's
Yeah.
huge. We got any others? All right, so we're looking at
Yeah.
the 245.5 then.
Yeah.
And what
I
were you
have
pointing
it
out?
at 246, but yeah. So you look at him on the road, last 6 of 8 on the road for 273, and in that game against Detroit, they played Detroit last season. He had 320 yards in that game.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. Is he still the same Geno as last year, or is he old Geno? That's my only question to you.
I think it's early in the season, and he's not old Geno yet.
I mean, he does have good weapons, so
Yes,
from
yes.
a receiving standpoint, so he should be okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
All right.
I think I like
All
that.
right.
Who else?
And then I also like this could also be a nice little same game parlay here, but I like him to throw two touchdowns. It was -105. When I placed it, he's done in his last 7 of 8 road games, and he had two touchdowns in that game at Detroit last season. A lot of green there.
I like that. I like the game script as well. Remember, we were talking about that with Breezy yesterday. Lions are favored -4.5, so Lions will probably be up for most of the game. High scoring game, 47.5 points. So I could see that panning out well. I like that. Good. What else do you like?
All right. And then the other piece of the Seattle offense I like here. So I mentioned, great matchups for the passing game, also great matchups for the running game. So Kenneth Walker over 59.5 rush yards, -115. He's cleared this in 5 straight games. He's averaged 15 carries per game since last season. When he has 15 plus carries, he's cleared in 7 of his last 8 games. When he's had 12 plus carries, if you want to bring that down a bit, he's cleared in 8 of his last 11, and he had 12 in week 1 against the Rams. So I think 12 is. I think you'll definitely see him have 12 here, if not more. And then remember, the only rush defense worse than Detroit is the Rams, and he had 64 in week 1. So you have a nice matchup here. I love this.
Yeah. Although the Chiefs didn't have very good success, right? Running the ball against Detroit.
They
right?
didn't. Yeah.
I mean, Mahomes had really good success, so
Yeah.
I like Kenneth Walker. I'm also I like before we move off of that play, I like that a lot. I also kind of like Geno for a 13.5 yard rush.
Yeah,
as
I
well.
didn't really look at that, but yeah, that's might be a
Right.
nice little pivot there. Yeah.
I think those are probably both good plays there.
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker, let's see what he does in terms of just he's got some explosive power. He doesn't seem like he's busted any big runs yet this year. But yeah, at only 60 yards, 60.5 yards, I think that's pretty good value. And you can get it as low as 58.5 on FanDuel. I know we've preached this before, but you guys have to sign up for props.cash. Use code PTM for 25% off. And look at this. This alone pays for your subscription. Just utilizing this odd section and getting 20 yards on that previous play, or just 2 yards if that gets you the win. This saves you so much time.
It not only just shows you the difference in the odds, but when you click on it, it'll bring that line down. So then you actually see the hit rates adjust. Yeah, it's very, very good.
Very cool stuff. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So Kenneth Walker, big thumbs up from me. I like that. And then we just added another play for Geno, 13.5 rush yards as well, right?
Nice.
Okay.
All right, now let's look at the Detroit offense here. So Seattle, also not great defensively. I have them ranked 22nd pass defense, but I do have them ranked as the number 1 rush defense. I think that's probably a little exaggerated just based on some wonky first week data, but they still have, they were ranked pretty high, like in Warren Sharp's, preseason ranking. So definitely the way to target them is passing more so than running. They did have the number 12 run stop win rate last week, so that kind of justifies that. They did have the 9th best pass rush win rate last week, but this is where I like it. They were dead last with a 0% QB pressure rate. They literally did not have a single. There was not a single drop back where they created pressure for the opposing QB last week. They only had 1 pass defended. They were 29th in air yards per attempt at 8.8 yards. And Detroit, just like Seattle, has a great offensive line. I have them ranked 3rd overall. They were the 9th pass blocking. They had the 9th best pass blocking win rate last week and the 10th best run blocking win rate. So I think that all shapes up for Jared Goff to have a nice game. The way I'm targeting it, though, I really love his passing TDs. Just over 1.5 passing TDs. It was minus 166 when I placed it. I think it might even be even juicier than that now. But look at it. Go to his home splits.
No, we got minus 145 at PointsBet and minus 148 at FanDuel.
Oh, okay.
So, all right, you want to look at him
at his home split.
At home? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he had 4 in that game against Seattle last season at home.
Yeah, and he also, we talked about this on the first Thursday Night Football show that we did, but he's also got a pretty nice interception record going. He hasn't had an interception in probably 10 weeks or something like that. So, so I think, it's not completely correlated to touchdowns, but if you hold on to the ball, you got more chances of scoring.
Yes.
So I like that. I think that's a great play. I like that. That home road split is excellent view right there.
Yeah. And if you like that and you liked Geno, I like the parlay between the two of them to both throw 2 touchdowns. It's plus 200 on DK. I really like that same game parlay.
I do like that. All right, cool. Very nice. Anything else from this game?
That's it.
All right, moving on. We got the Ravens at the Bengals. Disappointing Bengals. Just made everybody. I feel like there's a segment of a good portion of the country that just loves the Bengals, and then everybody else hates the Bengals. I don't know why. Is it just Joe Burrow? Is that what it is, or what's going on there?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's the hate about Joe Burrow. I don't know.
He's a little cocky, no?
I guess so, but I don't know.
But you need to be in that position, right?
Look what he's done since he's arrived. I mean, the guy's just won. It's amazing.
No championships, so we'll see. Maybe this year, but they got to play better than Week 1. Their offense was just stagnant. Now the Browns defense is decent, but they just look terrible Week 1. So you're feeling, what are you feeling for this game?
So this game is, this division always is like a slugfest, right? Whenever these, the what is it, AFC North gets together here. Let's look. I looked at what Cincinnati's defense did last week against Cleveland. They were 13th in QB pressure rate. They were 6th in passes defended. They were 7th in air yards per attempt. So pretty good. So I like this because it's kind of sneaky, and I feel like we're maybe getting some value here when people think Cincinnati just crap the bed here. They played a decent game, at least on paper here. Baltimore, on the other hand, was number 26 in pass block win rate last week at 43%. If for perspective, Kansas City was number 1 overall last week at 78%. So they did not do a good job. And now they have 2 major losses on their offensive line. They lost Pro Bowl offensive tackle Ronnie Stanley last week, and they lost 2022 first-round pick Tyler Lindenbaum, who was actually the highest graded center in Week 1. Those 2 huge parts of their offensive line gone against a team who was already pressuring the quarterback, defending passes, limiting yards per attempt. So I'm fading Lamar Jackson here. Under 218.5 passing yards. He only had 174 against Cincinnati last season. He's only cleared this in 3 of his last 13 games. Let's fade Lamar.
You want to fade Lamar. Lamar is at, he's on the road. So yeah. That actually seems to have a little bit better performance on the road. But overall, if you look at all of his games, he doesn't get there. And I'm a big fan of that because on the Future show, that was the only player on the quarterback one that I faded for the season long prop. So I like that. 169 yards last last week is nothing against the
Yeah.
Houston's defense.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
All
And now
right,
this
I
is a
like that.
Cincinnati team who lost last week, who started 0-2 last year, who does not want to start 0-2 again. This is not a good spot for him in a low scoring, division game here.
Yeah, and like you said, their defense actually wasn't the problem last week. They did give up 24 points, but of that, 11 of the 24 points were scored in the fourth quarter, kind of when the game was already out of hand, or they already started to pull Burrow from the game at that point. But the bigger thing is Deshaun Watson only had 154 passing yards in that game, also threw a pick, and they also forced a fumble. So I think defensively they actually are better than what people are thinking. So
Yes.
really good play here. I love that one. 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. All right, let's go.
Let's go. All right. So anything else in this game?
No, that's it.
All right. Let's move to the Raiders. Bills. Raiders are 1-0. Is that correct? They win their first game. And the Bills are 0-1. We know the Bills are 0-1.
That's
Everyone
right.
knows
We
the
do.
Bills are 0-1. All right. So the Bills are -8 in this game. That's a lot of points. Total is 47. This is the home opener for the Bills, so obviously that crowd's gonna be wild. And a nice total. What do you like here?
All right, I thought the Buffalo rush defense, like run defense, did not look good against the Jets. They were 19th in run stop win rate, 32nd in rush yards per attempt, thanks to Mr. Brees Hall. And that was against the terrible Jets offensive line. I have the Jets offensive line ranked 27th overall. Now they get to go against the Raiders, who have a great offensive line. I have them ranked 5th overall. Vegas last week had the 2nd best pass block win rate. And the 12th best run block win rate. So really good offensive line play. You saw what the Jets were able to do with a bad offensive line against Buffalo. Now let's see what Josh Jacobs can do with a good offensive line in front of him that brought him the rushing title last year. I like his over 68.5 rushing yards. I haven't seen lines out yet for rush plus receiving yards for him, but I'm monitoring those at the books because I do like that play as well. But let's look at what he did just rushing wise. 10 of his last 15, averaging 100 rush yards. Right? Is that correct?
9 of his last 15, including last week. Yeah.
Okay. 7 of his last 10, averaging 95.8. He's averaged 20 carries per game since last season. He had 19 in week 1. When he has 20 carries, you want to bring that filter up, slide it over to 20.
Yeah, I will. I know why you have 10 because the line bumped from 68.5 to 69.5.
Oh, okay.
One game where he was at 69.
That's it.
How many rush attempts? 10, you said?
20.
Oh, 20. Oh.
He averaged 20 since last season.
Yeah,
9 for 9.
Yeah.
Bring it down to 18. 10 for 11.
Yeah.
Oh, and
very nice.
It's not. Oh, because the line went up. That's why. So it was 10 for 11 at 68.5. Yeah, and even at 16 carries, he's done it in 11 of his last 14 games with just 16 carries. I think it's a great spot for him. I'm even before this Jets comeback against Buffalo and whatever. I was down on Buffalo this season a bit. Didn't have as high of expectations as I think some other people did. So I think this is a great spot for Jacobs here.
I think so. You have any other plays in this one?
No.
Can we just look at a Josh Allen interception? I'm just curious.
What is it, minus 250?
No, it's plus 105. I was just curious if there was like a major overreaction based on. There's probably a great. I mean, he has gone now 5 straight games with interceptions dating back
How
to
is
the
that
playoffs.
plus money?
I don't know. I mean, they're probably going to be a lot more conservative this game. All those interceptions were just forced passes, so they were all just
got
bad
read
decisions.
the riot act by Sean McDermott.
I'm sure he did. So, just curious about that one. That might be worth a little sprinkle at plus 105.
Yeah, good call out.
Okay, all right. Let's move on. We got
Jacobs got the thumbs up.
Yeah,
I
would give it more of up than a down, but
okay.
A little concerned by his efficiency week 1. But like you said, the Bills just got trashed by. Like Jacobs has some explosive capability still, and not to say he's as explosive as Brees Hall, but you saw Brees Hall was just ripping like 30, 40, 60, 80-yard runs against the Bills. I think if they do that again, he could clear that in just a couple runs.
I like the reason I mentioned the rushing and receiving. I don't know if you want to pull it up and see if maybe it came up since I wrote this up. It isn't.
I just checked.
What I loved is that they were second. Their offensive line was second in pass block win rate last week. Jimmy G is the master of those short little slants, those quick pass. Like I could see him getting involved in the passing game here as well. So I like that, especially with how good their offensive line was.
Okay, let's move on. We've got 4 games left, so let's rip through the most important game of the day fairly quickly. Get the Chiefs at the at Jacksonville. Chiefs are fully loaded now. Kelsey's playing. Chris Jones is back.
Yeah.
But they are 0-1 and going up against Jaguars, who are 1-0. Jaguars are getting 3.5 at home. That seems pretty tempting right there. And the total, I love this one, 51. So
Tempting for a Chiefs bet.
no. I hate taking minus 3.5. That's terrible. I buy that down to 2.5. But I don't know. The Chiefs are looking sluggish so far, so I'm going to lay off playing them anymore. Still burned from that Thursday night football. But anyway, let's move through this quickly. Who do you like here in this matchup?
All right, real quick. Casey's O-line had the second best run block win rate in week 1. They also had the best pass block win rate. Now they go up against Jacksonville, who had the 25th worst run stop win rate and the 27th worst pass rush win rate. So this just shapes up for Pacheco to have a field day here. Over 40.5 rushing yards, minus 115 on DK. Look at his last 2 games against Jacksonville, 82 and 95 yards.
Wow.
He's cleared this in 10 of his last 13 games. Now, I know you're going to come and say that his carries were down last week and you're concerned. He only had 8 rush attempts, right? And he has averaged 12 attempts per game since he became the guy last season for them, right? However, he's cleared this line in 13 of 16 games when he's had 8+ carries. This includes twice clearing 40.5 yards on only 8 carries. That was 8 for 43 against San Francisco and 8 for 64 against the Raiders. And then just for a little, Jacksonville played Indianapolis in week 1. Anthony Richardson had 10 carries in that game for 40 yards.
Wow.
So, obviously no Jonathan Taylor, but that guy. So I think this is nice for Pacheco here. What do you think, Chiefs fan?
Yeah, I mean, we played them last week at, I think it was 50.5 or 49.5. So we're getting potentially a better matchup and a lower value here. Let's see. Oh, look at this. Look at this. What are we doing here? DraftKings has it at 41.5 and BetMGM at 40.5.
Yeah, I had it at 40.5 on.
Oh,
last night it was 40.5 on DK. That's what I had.
Oh, yes. I love that. I love that. That's easy. He's going to get that.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Two thumbs up. All right, Pacheco, I'm writing it down. I'm placing that as soon as this is over. All right, next we got the second best team in the league, the 49ers. Who do you like in this game? They're going up against. Who doesn't really matter who they're going up against, but they're playing the Rams. Rams are getting 7 at home. Total's 45.5. What do you like?
You get that NFC West divisional juice here. I have the 49ers O-line ranked 28th after week 1. Warren Sharp had them at 25th going into the season. So, it's on par. And I think, it's I think that a slight downgrade is okay there. They were 19th in pass block win rate and 27th in run block win rate. However, the Rams defense, not so good either across the board. So what do I think? I think it could be a little messy, and I think it sets up nicely for Christian McCaffrey to have a big day here. I like his over rush and receiving yards, 102.5, minus 115. He's gone over this in 14 of his last 21, averaging 112 rush and receiving yards. Look at the 2 games against the Rams last season.
Would you have that at 102?
102.5, yeah.
Yeah, you can get it as low as 100.5, but we'll look at FanDuel. Against the Rams, I think probably.
And then look at his what?
Were those games? Was he on San Francisco for those games? I'm not sure. I think so, right? That was kind of
definitely the second one. I don't know about the first one. But then look at his road split.
Wow. You know what?
8 for 8 every single road game he played last year. He went over this and averaged 143.5 yards rushing and receiving in those road games.
Hold on. Excuse me for a second.
Yeah.
I'm just grabbing a screenshot of this. Okay. Just save that for later because
there you go.
That's a beautiful chart. I love when we get all green on props.cash. That's beautiful.
Yes.
All right. 2 thumbs up for that one. Good. Let's move on. Rams are losing that game by probably like 3 touchdowns. So
I think
play the 49ers.
Yeah. I think I'm smelling like, I think you're gonna give me like, if you grade this at the end, I think I'm gonna get an A. You like most of these picks.
It might very well be like a Yahoo fantasy football draft where you feel like you did really well.
Yeah.
And then they send you the email that the next morning or later that night, and you and you have like a C plus. So don't get too cocky, all right there.
Okay. All right.
Next we got Jets at the Cowboys. Cowboys minus 8.5. Totals 38.5. I do have to give you a shout out before we dive into the pick here. Before this game started, before the Jets game started the other day, might have been before the Cowboys game. Tom said to me, "Look at the line for the Jets Cowboys next week. It's Cowboys minus, what was it, 2.5 or 3.5?
3, yeah.
3.5.
3.5, I think it was.
Yeah. And he was like, I'll be all over that. So either you knew that Aaron Rodgers was going to get hurt, or you just had this, you knew the game script for week one. But either
Yeah.
way, impressive call out. That line moved from 3.5 to 8.5. So
It's at, I think it's even at 9 or 9.5 now.
somewhere, yeah.
Is it? Or do you have it right there? Or it's still 8.5?
Yeah, I think this might have been at MGM or Caesars,
Okay.
but
I've seen it moving like between 8.5
yeah.
and 9.5. Yeah.
All right. What do you like here?
The Jets, despite their beautiful, amazing comeback against the Bills last week, they had the worst week one pass. Their offensive line had the worst week one pass block win rate at only 30%. Dallas's defense, on the other hand, had the 8th best week one pass rush win rate. They were number 5 in QB pressures, 4th in passes defended, and obviously first in air yards per attempt after that putrid Giants performance. So I think this is just going to be Zach Wilson is not the guy. The guy is just not intelligent enough to play the position of quarterback in the NFL. He makes dumb mistake after dumb mistake. This Dallas defense is stacked. I'm fading his passing yards, 175.5. He's only gone over in 4 of 10, his last 2 of 8. And if you look on the road, it's even worse. His last 1 of 4 and 0 for his last 3.
Yeah, and I would take that at 182.5 on MGM or 180.5. I don't think it matters. I think he's looking at a 150 game here.
Yeah.
This is all about volume and the types of passes, right? They realized that this guy wasn't ready to, not that he hasn't played games already, but he wasn't prepared to, take over the helm this early in the season. So they got to work him into the position. He only attempted 21 passes week one, basically played the entire game, right? And that was in a game where they were down trying to catch up, right?
It was the most conservative football you can watch, right? I mean, it was just
it looked like they were content if they lost by 7, right?
Yeah.
Like that would have been a win for them, which given the circumstance, it probably would have been. But but I don't think this game's going to be much different, right? I think he's going to get another 20 attempts, right?
Yeah.
Completions, he went 14 for 21. The reason why his percentage is so high is just because he wasn't really throwing the ball down the field. So I think it's all going to be short yardage, high percentage stuff. Just keep the ball moving, keep the clock moving. That's indicated by the total. Total's 38.5. Both sides are going to run the ball because I think the Cowboys are also looking at all those picks last week and probably a little afraid of the secondary there. So I think both teams are going to run the ball. This game is going to be over in like a couple hours, and Wilson will finish with 150 yards. Love it.
Yeah. And I like usually, there's the people talk about like the backup QB bump, the extra bump that the team gets when like they rally behind the backup QB. But I feel like, this is not his first game, being the backup. He played the whole first game.
Yeah.
He got that bump in the first game. I think now it's like set in, and they're not going to have that. So I think we can unfortunately fade Zach Wilson here.
This is like an ex-girlfriend coming back, right? Like it's not like he's really, new to the team. I mean, look, he played all those games last year. He's just so it's
no
there
one
isn't a
wants
lot
to see him out there.
Nobody wants to, but they're all being supportive because they don't have anybody better. Not until Cousins comes along.
There you
all
go.
right, last pick. So far, you're doing great, man. I'm going to give you an early rating of like a A-. See if you can get it up to an A with this last one.
Appreciate that. Well, I got one of your faves coming here, so I think I will.
There's only one way you could possibly ruin this for me, and that would be giving out a Commander's quarterback pick. So let's hear who you have here, Tom.
Okay, Dave, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm targeting Denver here. They had the 2nd worst pass rush win rate in week 1, whereas Washington's offensive line had the 7th best pass block win rate. So nice mismatch there. I have Denver's pass defense ranked 26th overall, but the front 7 is what drags that down. Their secondary is not bad. So this makes me lean to the QB side of the passing game as opposed to the individual receiver side of the passing game. But I still think both are good. Denver, I think this is a bit of a sneaky spot here. Denver is not good defensively, and I think we can take advantage of that. Sam Howell, 200 passing yards. Let's get it. Against Arizona last week, I already mentioned Washington had the 7th best pass blocking. Arizona, 25th worst pass rush win rate last week, right? Now, lucky Sam Howell gets to play Denver, who has the 31st worst pass rush win rate. So almost dead last. Worse than what they saw in Arizona last week. They also had the 30th worst QB pressure rate at only 3.4% of dropbacks. For perspective, Pittsburgh was number 1 at 56% of dropbacks there was QB pressure on. They only had it on 3.4%. League average is 22. Come on, tell me you don't like this.
Nobody has ever said the words Sam Howell, let's get this until this podcast. So
we're getting this.
We're getting this. Yeah, you know what? I don't love Sam Howell yet. He doesn't look horrendous. But what I do like that encourages me is the number of attempts that he had.
Yeah.
31 pass attempts, right? So you look at that compared to Wilson, who we're just looking at, was limited
Hmm.
to 20. It seems like the Commanders are more comfortable with him airing it out.
Yes.
So, and especially against a poor pass D. So I think it's safe. I mean, 200 passing yards, especially with that receiving core that he's got. So
Hmm.
with that said,
Yeah.
finish the show off by redeeming yourself on this Sam Howell pick by giving me
Okay.
the best receiver on the Commanders.
Okay. Your boy, Scary Terry McLaurin, over 45 and a half receiving yards, minus 115 on DK. He's cleared this in 14 of his last 18, averaging 68 receiving yards. He's cleared it in his six of his last 8 on the road, averaging 76. He's cleared this in 5 straight road games, averaging 95.6. And that's not just against anybody. That was against Philly, New York, Giants, and the 49ers. He had 128 against Philly, 105 against the Giants, 77 against the 49ers. Just like we said with Sam Howell, let's get it, Terry.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, he had 31 receiving yards last week, but he only had 4 targets. So most of the volume went to Dotson, Logan Thomas, and even Curtis Samuel had more targets. So that's not going to last. McLaurin's the number 1 there.
Yep.
Dotson's probably a close number 2, and Curtis Samuel's like a nice,
Yeah,
you know,
nice
and
receiver room.
kind of, and Logan Thomas has always been pretty solid if he's playing. So I like that play. I think it's sneaky. You know, he did catch a 19-yard pass, so he can hook up for a couple of those, get over this 45 and a half pretty easily. So yeah, he was my favorite season long receiver. So
Yes, he was. That's right.
in order to hit the season long, you got to hit each week, so or most of the week. So I love that.
Yep.
Scary Terry.
All right, how'd I do?
I think there were no picks that I hated. So let's start by, softening the blow. And only a few I think that I was like kind of neutral on. So I would say I liked most of the picks, and there were a few that I really loved. So I think overall you did excellent.
Thank you.
At the same point, I brought very little to the table, so I can't really criticize you too much. But hopefully my commentary, made you happy.
It was good. You're a great host. We did. I think it was a nice back and forth, and I think I'm gonna once we get off this this pod here, I'm gonna find out exactly which were your 3 or 4 favorite here, and we're gonna start getting some of those up on X. So I think unless you have anything else to discuss here, I think we're going to lock those bets in, and let's all make some money on Sunday.
Go Sam Howell.